Hi YouTube, welcome to another edition of Horror Hands, and for this video I thought I'd go through 10 great horror movies that, to my knowledge, I've never mentioned on the channel. I know we do have some certain favourites here on Horror Hands and we talk about some horror movies more than others, but I thought I'd give these 10 movies a few minutes of spotlight and give them a mention for a change. My memory of some of these is not all that great. It's been a while since I've watched them, but I know I certainly enjoyed them. So let's get straight into this. This is 10 great horror movies that I've never mentioned on the channel. So first movie on the list is The Black Cat from 1981. Lucio Fulci movie, one of his sort of seldom mentioned films, although this came out right in his heyday where he was releasing some real classic heavy hitters. The Black Cat takes place in this little English village where there's these grisly murders going on, and Scotland Yard gets sent in, and there's also like this guy who can speak to the dead. He's like a psychic medium person, so it's kind of like a bit of a gruesome whodunit as people are killed off in this village. And this is an interesting one because it does take place in this quaint little British village. You kind of get the usual Italian Lucio Fulci sort of trashy themes, but there's almost an aspect of kind of Hammer horror, or certainly the old classic British horror elements in this because of where it's set. It's an interesting mishmash in this one, and it's great to see Lucio Fulci kind of bring his style over into that British world. But this one, I think it holds up really well. It doesn't seem to get a lot of love amongst his films. It's got some great deaths in it. People are absolutely mauled up by this cat that goes around. Their faces get clawed up. There's some good other good deaths in this. People getting set on fire, thrown out of buildings, and a lot of the usual Fulci style visceral gore in this one. Patrick Magee is the main star in this one. It was actually written for Peter Cushing, but Peter Cushing was not a fan of Lucio Fulci's extreme gore and was sort of like, absolutely not, dear boy. And so therefore Patrick Magee was brought in, who does a fantastic job anyway. It's been a while since I've watched this. I don't think I've ever talked about it amongst Fulci's movies, but like I say, I think it's a good movie. I think it holds up well amongst his other ones that came out around this time, but yeah, this one doesn't seem to do it all that much for many people, but I thought The Black Cat was a really good movie. Next up is a really fun one from the 80s, and that is Dead Heat from 1988. A great blend of kind of the 80s buddy cop movies that were popular at this time, spliced together with sort of like Return of the Living Dead style horror comedy. Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo are these two tough city cops who start like coming up against these sort of like zombie criminals and thugs and things like that, and it all goes back to sort of this pharmaceutical company that have developed a resurrection machine that's bringing people back from the dead and causing all kinds of problems, and they get involved in this. I won't give too much away, but there's zombie cops and zombie robbers sort of running around the place, and you get Vincent Price in one of his final roles in this movie, which is just the icing on the cake. So you've got all the awesome 80s goodness in this, and then Vincent Price. It's like, come on, what else do you want in a fun horror movie from the 80s? But yeah, I think this would appeal to, like I say, the buddy cop action movie fans as well as horror fans in this one. Some might scoff at the aging practical effects in this one, but I think they still look really cool, and I love the look of the zombies and some of the creaturey people that are in this one. It's just a really fun film. Another one that I haven't watched it for a long time, which I didn't really have an excuse as to why, and I don't think I've ever talked about it before, but this is probably one of the most fun 80s horror films you'll ever see, actually. Dead Heat, definitely worth checking out. Next up we have Demonic Toys from 1992. A full moon movie, great full moon movie, and I do speak about full moon quite a bit, but I tend to go for sort of like Head of the Family or the Puppet Master movies. because I really like those. But Demonic Toys is a real strong hitter from them. One of their best, one of their flagship movies where they do what they do best, which is having a bunch of little creatures running around messing with folk. This one takes place in like a toy warehouse. There's a cop and she gets stuck inside there with this random guy, and they get sort of like stalked and attacked by these demonic toy creatures. But it's a real fun movie. The demonic toys in it themselves are excellent. They're creepy as hell anyway. There's like this clown sort of Jack-in-the-Box thing, a weird baby one, a freaky looking teddy bear. So yeah, they've got a great look. I love the practical effects of it and the sort of animatronics that are in this one. And yeah, just a really fun film from the early 90s. It's one, I remember seeing the VHS cover to it when I was a kid, who at the time now I had a lot of toys. So the notion of demonic toys was really scary. But then a few years later, I got around to watching it and just realised what a fun one this one is. And it's always been a big favourite of mine from Full Moon. But yeah, not one that I think I've ever talked about, but definitely one that I would recommend if you just want to see something funny and silly, but pretty well done for what it is. Definitely check out Demonic Toys. Next up we have Mark of the Devil from 1970. Still a really strong horror film now. I think this is a real kind of actually low-key, nasty movie. I mean, in 1970, this must have been like extreme level horror, because it still gets under your skin in its kind of torture-driven way. This one is about like 18th century witch finders and just the crazy, nasty stuff they do to young women to try and get a confession out of them. Yeah, all kinds of weird forms of torture. And this one just, as I say, it still has an impact now, and it has a real kind of just like nasty, gritty realism to it, which is really effective. And on that note, an interesting thing about this movie, and quite sinister, is the machines and the implements that they use to torture the girls, in most cases, were real artifacts used in the 18th century, which is pretty horrifying. So when you see that on screen, it's like, you know, that stuff was actually used on people. For this one, you've got Herbert Lom is in this. He's great. Udo Kier is fantastic. But Reggie Nalder in this, his creepy level is off the chart. Like you can't cast, you can't method act for just how creepy he is in this film. I'm sure he was a nice man in real life, but my goodness, he absolutely nails the role of this sort of sinister, slimy, just absolutely foul witch hunter guy who just takes way too much delight in like hurting these young women. But yeah, really good film, kind of beautiful and nice in a cinematic way at times, but then absolutely grubby and just taking place in this horrible dungeon at other times. Great movie. But yeah, if you want an old movie that really still packs a punch and is still pretty nasty, check out Mark of the Devil. Right, next up, and when I say 10 great horror movies, you may have to substitute the word great for this one, because this is Z-grade horror fodder, but I love it. And it's Microwave Massacre from 1983. Pure trash, pure just drive-in silliness. This is about a construction worker who starts to get fed up with the gourmet meals that his overbearing wife is making him, and it sort of tips him over the edge, and he starts killing people and storing them up in a freezer and I think eating them with his fancy new microwave, something like that. It's completely absurd, it's slapstick, it doesn't take itself 1 ounce seriously, and I will say it's not a great movie, but for me, I love it. Microwave Massacre came around at the perfect time for me. I was like an early teenager, and we're just really kind of getting into kind of obscure alternative horror, like trash and sleaze and just general crappiness. And Microwave Massacre came along and just encapsulated all that, and just was this beacon of ultimate trash cinema, and I absolutely love it. and I still love it today. I don't think I've ever mentioned it on here. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it's just gloriously bad, and one that I just love discovering, and for some reason have a great love for this trashy, crappy movie. So I don't necessarily think I'd recommend this as a great film that you should track down, but if you I don't know, you want to laugh and your expectations are low, maybe give Microwave Massacre a try. One good thing I think about this movie is it won't waste your time. You'll put this on and within 2 minutes I think you'll know if this is the movie for you or not, and for most people it probably won't be. Next movie is My Name is Bruce from 2005. Another really fun sort of meta horror film, starring and made by Bruce Campbell himself. It's a bit of a personal project for him, where he plays himself and he's living in this town, and a Chinese demon gets awoken, which is going to take over everyone, and Bruce Campbell is reluctantly drawn in to try and do battle against this one. This one, it's not any kind of like Evil Dead outing. It's not gory or violent. It's more just fun and silly. But it is Bruce Campbell kind of being himself, and he's really entertaining in this one. He's not afraid to kind of make fun of himself or put himself in a less favourable light. He has some good one-liners, and yeah, if you like Bruce Campbell, I think you'll like this one. The Chinese demon in it, I always thought was a bit of an odd choice. It's really cool and he has a good look. I think probably just for the Evil Dead connection, I imagine Bruce Campbell doing battle with more kind of demonic monster kind of creatures than what you have in this one. But it was somewhat different, which I appreciated. So yeah, very much in the comedy vein, but I just loved seeing Bruce Campbell do what he did in this one, and he references a lot of his old movies as well, which I appreciated too. So yeah, My Name is Bruce often goes under the radar, but it's one that I enjoy and always have fun watching. Right, next movie, I can't believe I haven't mentioned this on the channel. I probably have at some point, but I really can't pinpoint when, so I'll throw it in there. But it's Near Dark from 1987, an absolutely fantastic vampire movie from the 1980s. Very kind of anti-vampire in its kind of, in the tropes and the traditions. These are kind of vampires that move around in daylight, in the Midwest, in the desert. They're in like an RV rather than castles and coffins and things like that, and they're just brilliantly acted by the likes of Lance Henriksen and Bill Paxton and such, and real kind of charismatic as well, particularly Bill Paxton. He's very kind of outward in this, and pretty aggressive and sinister. Lance Henriksen's a bit more broody and quiet, has that real good dark look in this one, and everyone in the movie does a great job as well. And Near Dark also has this kind of sort of love story at heart as well, which is really well done and really well integrated into the film. It's just a really well put together movie. The bar scene as well, where the vampires sort of attack the bar, is just, it's one of the most tense and unsettling scenes you'll ever see. Really well done, and again, Bill Paxton kind of nails that moment in the movie. So yeah, if you want to see a bit of an alternative vampire movie, definitely check out Near Dark. It's an excellent movie. Next movie up, and I don't know why this one isn't more popular, but it's Shredder from 2003. A really good sort of slick, hip slasher film, sort of coming out of that late 90s, early 2000s slasher phase. This one takes place on the slopes at a ski resort where a masked killer is going around killing off a bunch of snowboarding teenagers. So very kind of lively movie. I love the snowbound setting in this one. The killer looks cool in his snowboarding get up, and yeah, this one, it's just I say a modern film now, it's very old, but it just has that kind of real cool early 2000s slickness to it that I enjoy, and the kills in this are pretty good. Yeah, it's just one of those early 2000s slasher films that just never seems to get a mention, and I think it's a fun example of that subgenre, and to be honest, one of the most coolest, no pun intended. It's a real sort of fun slasher film. Next up, another big movie at the time, but one that I don't think I've ever mentioned on the channel, and it's Starship Troopers from Paul Verhoeven. A great mix of like sci-fi, action, horror, giant bug movies. You got like these bugs sucking out people's brains and things like that. Just really excellent film. Very unique film as well, I think, Starship Troopers, and almost has like a degree of sort of like a propagandist element to it as well, where like within the movie they're trying to get people to sign up for this army and get on board the mission of killing all these bugs, and it's sort of like splashed with those infomercials to try and get you on board with the cause. I mean, similar to what Paul Verhoeven did with RoboCop, you can sort of see the same kind of things going on in terms of that. But the bugs in it are really awesome. The action scenes are fantastic. Like, they take ages to bring down, with all these soldiers shooting them with giant machine guns and things like that. It's absolutely fantastic. But you also get a degree of kind of story and drama with sort of Casper Van Dien and Denise Richards and their sort of romantic entanglement, and the business with like Michael Ironside as the captain, and the training before all the actual warfare stuff starts. It's a really great film. There's a lot going on in this, and I've always loved Starship Troopers. Really is a fantastic film, and it seems to be a film. It's a little bit of a lightning in the bottle moment for this movie, where it's a lot of frankly kind of forgotten Hollywood stars who just at the time were at their peak, and they all sort of come together to make this amazing movie. So yeah, Starship Troopers, man, very exhilarating stuff, awesome film. Yeah, don't think I've ever talked about it before, so there you go. And the last movie on the list, and a film that I probably have not seen for at least 20 years, but I wanted to give it a mention, is The Vineyard from 1989. All I remember about this one is it's James Hong, and he's got these weird supernatural powers, and he has people come over to this big house, and there's just weird stuff going on. A lot of it is like bugs and insects crawling about people and going all over the place. Pretty icky in places. But The Vineyard, I really enjoyed it. The Vineyard kind of means a lot to me, because it was a movie that I got when I really started collecting films properly, and I really started going after some of the more obscure horror films, and this was a real obscure one at the time. And I just like the internet had just sort of come around, and I was starting to sort of import films, and I could send off for other movies like that. The horizons had opened up more, and The Vineyard was one of the first ones I actually sort of went after and imported in, and watching it for the first time was really exciting. I know I really enjoyed it, and just the satisfaction of being able to find something a bit more obscure and you know, off the beaten horror track was a real treat at the time. I really need to rewatch this one. I'd love to go back and check it out. It might not even hold up the same way I remember it, but it has been released and re-released since that time. I think this is a lot more easier to get now, and hopefully people have seen it and have had a bit of fun with it. But yeah, I need to return to The Vineyard. That's for sure, because I know I loved it at the time, and getting this at the time was a real novelty. So I always have great memories of that. So yeah, the last movie that I've never mentioned on the channel, but it's pretty great, is The Vineyard. So there we go, guys. That is 10 great horror movies that up to now I've never mentioned on the channel. Let me know what you think about any of them. If you liked them, if you don't like them, let me know. So thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.